Hey everyone, how you doing? So today I wanted to review my article about Theosophical Buddhism, or specifically Theosophical Theravada Buddhism, and kind of the connection between the two. Because honestly, it's been a big inspiration to me in helping to round out a lot of my knowledge about the universe and karma and subtle bodies and all this stuff. And so I wrote about it, and hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get to it. So, Theosophical Theravada Buddhism by me. And, okay. Let's start off by defining some terms. According to Google, theosophy is any number of philosophies maintaining that a knowledge of God may be achieved through spiritual ecstasy, direct intuition, or special individual relations. Especially the movement founded in 1875 as the Theosophical Society by Helena Blavatsky and Steele Olcott, 1832 to 1907. Theravada means school of the elders, the conservative form of Buddhism that follows the oldest teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, also known as the Buddha. This tradition primarily relies on the Pali Canon. Buddhism, the teachings of the Buddhas, a fully enlightened being. There have been many past Buddhas and will be many future Buddhas. It seems that nowadays very few people are familiar with theosophy, and even less with the connection between Buddhism and theosophy. Should have capitalized that, theosophy, but it's okay, I'll get to it. Therefore, for those who don't, I'll start off with a little history. The Theosophical movement was started by Helena Blavatsky. It's a perennial movement set on discovering the esoteric teachings which are the essence of true science, philosophy, and religion. It claims that there is but one reality, and that throughout time the truth of this reality has been discovered by various cultures and often times kept secret due to protecting those following it and the lack of people capable of understanding its depths. In 1880, Blavatsky and Henry Steele Olcott, also a founder of the Theosophical Society, converted to Buddhism in Sri Lanka, taking Panchashila, also known as the Five Precepts in Buddhism. This made them one of the first public figures to convert to Buddhism in the United States. Blavatsky claimed that the teachings of theosophy came from Buddhist ascended masters, which I should add are actually Tibetan ascended masters, but I don't know, apparently they like Theravada Buddhism too. So, converting in public in such a way in Sri Lanka was quite understandable. They believed that Siddhartha Gautama was the master adept, and instead of fitting into the traditional Theravada view, they incorporated an esoteric doctrine which, in my view, was very much lacking in the Theravada tradition. This conversation led to a revival of Buddhism in Sri Lanka, taking what was two Buddhist schools, taking what was only two Buddhist schools in the entire country to 250 schools in 1907. Olcott was also helped get Buddhism established after the British left. This was a critical time in Sri Lanka's history because they had been under a devastating Christian missionary effort since the British had taken control. Theosophy then went on to help unify all the different sects of Buddhism, which helped establish Buddhism as a whole and as a powerful global religion. The last point I will add here is that the Theosophy is also established Bodh Gaya, also helped to establish Bodh Gaya, which is said to be where the Buddha became enlightened, and was a huge influence on Alan Watts. He joined the Buddhist Theosophical Lodge at age 15. Now that we've gone through all that, as some of you may have already noticed, I am not a traditional Theravada Buddhist. I believe in a number of esoteric teachings, such as subtle bodies and a more expansive view of karma, which has led to a number of people believe that I'm a Mahayana Buddhist. Theosophy unites Buddhism, Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, science, philosophy, religion, and many other traditions into one system. In the West, these things are so disintegrated that they have one overlapping having one overlapping the other is seen as blasphemy. However, What I believe is that there is one reality, and that true science, philosophy, and religion should be united in explaining this one reality. For this reason, I think calling myself a Mahayana Buddhist doesn't make much sense. Even though Theosophy did help establish Theravada Buddhism in the West and Sri Lanka, there are a lot of things where the two philosophies seem at odds. In response, I will just say that I reject most of the commentary of the Pali Canon and have not found any contradictions when looking at the text at face value that I believe could not be reinterpreted in the light of Theosophy. One of the common arguments against this is that the Buddha taught with an open hand, in quotes, meaning that there was no secret esoteric teachings. However, it is clearly stated that the Buddha taught according to what the student needed, and I believe that what was spread out to the general population in the Pali Canon was meant for the average level of consciousness at the time of the Buddha, which I don't believe was very high. This doesn't mean that these teachings are less valuable as all spiritual practice is built on a strong foundation, which Theravada Buddhism provides. But teaching about subtle bodies or detailed instructions on karma would have been more of a distraction than anything else, and I believe it was left out for this reason. I really do believe that the true teachings of Gautama the Buddha was lost after 500 years, like the Pali Canon itself states, and yet what remains is still of immense value, especially when understanding it in the light of Theosophy. Down the line, I plan on writing more about how I think Theosophy, Buddhism, science, psychology, and so many other things all interact or intersect. But I think we'll just leave this to a future date. One last point before we leave, or I leave. I reject what the Theosophical Society became after Blavatsky died. I believe it didn't take long for the whole organization to become corrupt, and for this reason, it's for this reason that I only follow the original Theosophical teaching set by the Theosophical Lodge. With that said, may you all be happy, peaceful, and liberated. So, hopefully that was insightful. Theosophy is really strange because, especially in karma, they talk about how, basically with, if it's going to be a new subtle body, new soul, right? Because in Theosophy, you have basically the individual, and there's 7 layers. It's 7 layers of subtle bodies. Well, the physical, not counting the physical, I guess. So maybe the physical body, 6 more layers above that. And basically, you have this kind of, I don't know how to explain it, where you go through all the different realms and all these subtle parts first manifest on all these different levels, and then you physically incarnate, and then you kind of come back the other way where it's this plan or the dharma that you kind of created coming down is then brought into expression as you come up. There's certain ideas like that I thought were just fascinating that are in Theosophy. What else? There's in Los Angeles, there's actually the Theosophical Lodge, and they have a giant building. They used to have an auditorium because back in the day, Theosophy did such a great job of uniting all the different traditions, and still today you can basically go to a lot of the Theosophical, what would you call them? Theosophical groups, or the Theosophical, the buildings they have and stuff, and they'll have teachers from all over the world talking about what they believe. And it's beautiful. And so hopefully that does it for you. May you be happy, peaceful, and liberated. Thank you for watching.